Vikas, hi.
Hi.
So, if you can just brief me about, how is the auto component industry at present shaping up, and what's the kind of outlook you have for the current FY25?
All right. So thanks for having me here. And we see the current year not at the same aggressive growth path in terms of the volumes from OEMs. Generally speaking, as in the last 3, 4 years, the post-COVID recovery was more like a V-shaped recovery. But this year, of course, the two-wheeler segment is still continuing to show strong traction and on the growth path, but we see some kind of volume slowing down on the four-wheeler segment, also because of the news of all the inventory pileups happening and everything at a couple of major OEMs. Personally, I continue to believe that H2 should see a better traction than H1, even on the four-wheeler volumes. The reason being that the festival time is the buying is just going to start. Also, particularly on the part of the EV segment sales slowing down, there should be some clarity in place very shortly on the next phase of the subsidies and everything. Uh, we do not see it as something this slowdown being sustainable. Uh, we continue to believe that FY26 as an industry, we should be again back to a growth path of 8 to 10% plus. But for the current year, we are looking at a more muted kind of growth. If overall, if you see the industry, maybe somewhere between 3 to 5%, largely driven by the two-wheeler segment. Uh, how and what it is doing to us as a company, as an organization, is that since a lot of our new joint venture products are just taking off, we have a wider portfolio to offer than even last year. So we continue to be quite optimistic on registering closer to a 15% growth or a little more, uh, bucking the industry trend.
Plastic is something which you are very bullish on, especially with plastic tanks and especially for the CVs and off-road vehicles. So, what kind of projections, what kind of growth you see from that particular segment for your company?
So the plastic segment, which largely is housed in Lumax Auto Technology currently, uh, it has got some very, very strong future prospects. We just got into the commercial production of plastic fuel tanks in one of our joint ventures. Roto molding as a technology which plastic fuel tank deploys is gaining traction. We are seeing applications beyond roto molding of plastic fuel tanks. We are looking at making, uh, let's say, vehicle cabins, the exterior parts, and those kind of things. Also, urea tank, which was introduced as a BS6 product in FY20, March 2020. The expansion is happening at a faster pace. So the plastic fuel tanks as a technology being roto molding for the commercial vehicles and blow molding for the two-wheelers, in fact, is something which is going to gain significant traction. Also, if you see a evolved molding player like us, who is not in only into injection molding, 3D molding, blow molding, rotational molding, there are a lot of products that we are proposing to the customers in terms of lightweighting. And lightweighting is going to be a very heavy agenda even in the, let's say, a mature EV world. That is where I think from the vehicle concept designing stage into development, into getting into commercial production, we are playing a pivotal role there with some of the major OEMs. Plastic, of course, has its own, I would say, space in terms of the housing assembly that it provides to the products as complicated and complex as even telematics products. So the advanced plastics and the advanced polymers are here to stay, I would say, in the Indian automotive industry. Something which is powertrain agnostic, be it the ICE-led engines or hybrid or HPEVs or whatever, right? Plastic is going to be here.
So, a slightly different question now. So, there have been reports about hiring challenges being faced by automotive component companies, especially with the emergence of AIs, wherein candidates, at times tend to hoodwink the interviewers with, with their answers. But then when it comes to the ground, they completely lack the skill. So, what as a company and what as an industry captain do you see? How it is panning out, and what steps would you take to mitigate such challenges in the future?
Interesting question, and something which is beginning to concern, I would say, not only automotive but industry at large. Uh, I personally think that the social media part of uh, Facebooks and Instas and everything just slightly started interfering with the social media world of professional channels like LinkedIn and everything. Uh, there is a whole plethora of so-called apps, and then uh, AI based kind of tools which are prompting a lot. Uh, Unfortunately, some of the younger generation is beginning to rely on them a lot. Uh, Now, primarily either to address a language based limitation or a knowledge based limitation. Now, that is something for HR and for companies to then sniff it out, for lack of a better word. Go to the institutions where the right knowledge capital and the human capital exists, validate these things in deeper detail and get into more diligence, and then ensure that we are having the right resource on board. So while I think automotive industry now is moving on to a bigger hiring challenge of trying to find the right resources for the electronics and for the software uh, products, and more than 50% of the future products fall in that category. Uh, the fight is not only limited to now getting the right resource, you know, the fight is now gone beyond to probably being competing with the Microsofts and the Accentures of the world, trying to get their talent. Also, the ecosystems are region developed now, right? So you do not see much of the automotive software resource pool available in north as you would see in south and deeper south of India, or even towards west to some extent. North is largely manufacturing based even today in terms of the human capital. A lot of R&D centers, tech centers, innovation centers, incubation labs continue to be based outside the northern region in the automotive segment. Now, within all this, while definitely there is a challenge to get the right resource and a sustainable resource, but I do have validated information and inputs also from the industry academia interface that the AI based learning, the machine learning, the future factory models kind of trainings and everything are now getting incorporated into the curriculums and into the academic courses of a lot of good institutes. Going ahead, we would largely rely on such campus hiring. That is something that we are now beginning to start at our organization, where, yes, I mean, why not? AI based learning and everything, and all this artificial intelligence tools and all. If somebody has got a professional grounding and education on same from within the campus, uh, good for us to hire. So that's where things are. Rest world will be world.
So validating the domain knowledge, basically from the source from which the candidate has been acquired or hired, is the way to go.
That is the way to go. That is the way to go for the freshers. I mean, for a lot of people who already have experience on board, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, we know they are in the industry and what they are doing. Similar goes for the people who are trying to probably poach from us. That happens more on an industry knowledge, networking, and movement and a circle level. Even during the ACMA conference, like for example, I mean, we see the resources out there who have been doing a great job doing what they have been. But yes, this question applies more for me to the freshers coming on board or up to, let's say, 2 years, 3 years kind of an experience, we will go back to the campus and trust them for taking the right resources on board.
Thanks, Vikas. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
And thanks for your insights. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank
and all
you.
the best.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks.